Thanks for staying with the best. Still on Pulse and Joy News on Multi-TV. Now on to some rather disturbing situation that we're all looking for justice for. Political reporter Kwesi Parker-Wilson is today undergoing further laboratory tests after initial results showed he has had infection from a slap he received at the hands of former President John Mahama's security detail. The former president has personally apologized and promised investigations into the matter. But this afternoon, there's pressure on the John Mahama 2020 campaign to identify the culprit and bring him to book. Today, we've put together a panel to have a conversation about attacks on the media and what can be done to address the menace. Details will come up shortly, but first, let's bring you an update on the attack on Parker-Wilson. My colleague, Nancy Emefa-Dradosi, has been speaking to Kwesi Parker-Wilson on what doctors have been telling him about his condition.
So he took me to the former president, and Mr. Mahama apologized. He said he's sorry. I should forgive the NDC, forgive him and the NDC party, and asked me to identify the young man who assaulted me. If I'm able to do that, he will deal with the young man. But unfortunately, at that moment, all the security guards present at the auditorium, he wasn't there. So I told him, oh, the man is not here at the moment, but if I'm able to identify him, I'll definitely let him know. And he said, yes, he wants that so that he can deal with the young man. So that is what happened. And when I went to the hospital, the doctor said, looks like I have an infection with the eye. So I should return on Wednesday for a critical examination of the eye. But he gave me some drugs so that it could relieve the pain or ease the pain that I'm feeling. Because as I said, as I speak to you right now, I still feel pains around.
See the red?
Yeah, it's still red, yeah. So hopefully tomorrow I'll go to the hospital for the doctors to examine the eye, and then they can confirm if there is any injury or anything. I don't know.
And I'm sure the police have also been notified about this case and be going there soon.
Yes, the managing editor, Mr. Kwashi, has already notified the police, and from here we're going to the police station to officially file a complaint, and I'm sure they'll take it up from there and investigate the matter.
So that's Parker's state as we speak, as he spoke to Nancy Emefa-Dradosi. There's an infection currently, and doctors have been treating him. He's still receiving treatment for it after that hefty slap he received yesterday at the hands of a security detail. But the executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, is meanwhile urging the former president to publicly speak on the matter.
As journalists, we need to get to the point where we know that for whatever reason, some people may not always be happy with what we do. And therefore, in terms of our safety and security, we need to take it quite serious. There are occasions where, even as we can't justify any physical attack on any journalist, sometimes if you investigate or go into the matter, you realize that, well, journalist could have handled himself or herself in a way that such an incident could have been prevented. The other thing is about whether or not our media organizations really put in place measures that would ensure that the safety of the workers, I mean, not just journalists, but all other workers within the media space are guaranteed. And as and when incidents like what happens, we take a very collective and bold decision to send a very strong signal. I think we've gotten to a point where we need to really change course and send that signal that, look, journalists are doing, work that is doesn't put anybody at risk. We're just doing our work. We're just reporting for the people, and working in the public interest. And for me, security people like, what we are told happened yesterday, who think the best way to act is to attack a journalist, I don't think they are fit for their position. And I just hope that it wouldn't just end with a statement from the former president's campaign team. I think it would be great for us to hear the former president himself. And I was hoping that by now, given the record of what happened when he was president, and I would say presided over a very serious case of impunity when the Sandobe incident happened, I would have hoped that when this matter happened, he himself yesterday would have just personally even made a comment or condemned the incident, so that
you mean a public comment, because he's spoken personally to Parker. So you mean a public comment?
Well, I think a public comment would be in order.
Okay.
But for you telling us that he's spoken to Parker, I wouldn't know. Any other person wouldn't know. Perhaps people who are his supporters across the country would not even know. So that next time, if a journalist, they feel a journalist has done something that offends them, or a journalist is going beyond the boundaries, they would know that, well, if I were to act this way, the person that I am serving, for whom I think I'm acting this way, would not even be, because when the previous incident happened, he publicly condemned it and called on all supporters not to treat journalists in the way that this particular incident happened.
Now, spokesperson of the John Mahama 2020 campaign team, James Ejenim Boateng, has assured the team will deal with the individual who hits the journalist once investigations are concluded.
What happened, okay, maybe just by way of summary, the principal, former President Mahama, had finished addressing delegates at Pentecost University College. That's Anyanso Utrum constituency. Then he decided to thank the uni authorities for offering to host yesterday's program. And you know that our National Women and Youth Conference had also been hosted by the Church of Pentecost at its convention center. So Mr. Mahama had gone to thank the university authorities because for him that was the second time that he was engaging with party people on the campus, and also to thank the Church of Pentecost for hosting. So that was really the meeting. This was taking place 7 floors up. Just when that was over, and it was a no media event, that part, it was just a private meeting. If you like you guys call it, it was basically a photo op. So he had gone 7 floors up, and I had gone with him and a few others. Just when that was over and I came down to the ground floor, my attention was drawn to the fact that something had happened, and the Joy FM reporter's body had been breached. So I found out where he was, and interestingly, he was in the detail of the security people, of the campaign team. So I went into this detail, and yes, there he was. The first thing I said to him was to apologize to him, even before I knew the facts, because you might ask, why did I offer to apologize to him again when I didn't know the facts? Point was, he was in our company. Whether he had come there on his own or by invitation, he was working as a press person, and it was important that we provided him with protection, which we had done all the way. So I offered him the apology, and right there and then I heard an announcement on the radio that the vehicles needed to proceed to the next destination. So he was in that protection of the security people up to the next point. Just when we got to the next point, again, I went immediately to him to apologize to him again and to try to understand the situation. Just about that time, the info was passed to Mr. Mahama, who called Mr. Parker Wilson and personally apologized to him. At about that time, quite a number of security people were around the former president, so he asked these people to point out who did that. He said he could not. And that's why the matter will have to be looked into. What we did, though, was to also offer him medical assistance to take him to a hospital, which he declined because at the time his bosses were calling him. I spoke to people in and out of your station and I gave them these same facts and also apologized to them. So this morning is basically to offer that same apology and to give you the highest assurance that, there's no way that any such thing will repeat itself. What happened, unfortunately, is regrettable, and there's no way it's going to happen. Once the investigations are completed and the person is identified, the appropriate sanctions will be meted out. It's a matter that we are going to sweep under the carpet.
So that's what we've heard so far from the John Mahama campaign team. The GJA has also issued a statement. We'll also hear from the Deputy Information Minister on this matter. But let's get on to the GJA statement. It's coming moments a while ago. It says the GJA condemns assault on JoyNews reporter. And it says that the Ghana Journalists Association regrets the reported assault of the JoyNews reporter by a security officer of ex-President John Mahama and totally condemns the act. The incident occurred on Monday, it says, at the Pentecost University College, Sotuom near Accra, where the ex-president had taken his recent campaign tour Parker Wilson, who had been covering the political campaign of the ex-president for some time now, was in the line of duty when the security officer allegedly assaulted him. The GJA finds the incident most unfortunate. The statement also goes on to say that the GJA appreciates the purported apology rendered by the said security officer to Parker Wilson and the promise by the office of the ex-president to investigate the matter. These are proactive steps that demonstrate a will to deal with the matter. We, however, hope the investigations will be swift and not shield the perpetrator of the assault from punishment. We further call on the Ghana Police Service to investigate the matter and take appropriate steps to bring the perpetrator to book. We take this opportunity to reiterate earlier calls by the GJA on the need for journalists to be extremely cautious when covering events in hostile environments and try as much as possible to put safety ahead of story. And it concludes by saying, on the way forward, the GJA plans to engage with all stakeholders, including political parties and media owners, on how best we can work in harmony and minimize cases of assault against journalists. So that's a statement signed by President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afil Moni. We have on the phone now the General Secretary, Edmund Kofi Yeboah. Thank you very much for your time here on the Pulse, Mr. Yeboah. So you are advising journalists to be cautious when covering events in an hostile environment. I'd want to find out, first of all, covering a campaign of a former president, is that a hostile environment?
Yeah, I thank you very much, Emeka, for having me. It will be a hostile environment in the context once there is a confrontation with a security officer, and the confrontation is said that there is no understanding. At that moment, the environment becomes hostile. And so if you study the environment and you realize that it is one that will not be in the best interest of your safety, I think it is good to advise yourself. And the essence of this advice is that you need to live to tell the story. If you don't live, you cannot share the story.
Mr. Yeboah, if I heard you right, you talked about a confrontation. Is that your understanding of what actually happened? Were you told, have you been able to do your background checks? What kind of information did you get that there was a confrontation between Parker and the security officers? Is that what your briefing told you?
The understanding we have is that Parker Wilson was trying to follow up to another schedule to cover that event. And the security officer had asked him to go back. Mm-hmm. So it was at that point that the confrontation emerged, whereupon the security officer was alleged to have assaulted. And the whole assignment, the whole event, is not an intimidating environment, but that particular incident may make that moment intimidating, and you may want to study the situation and then advise yourself. I'm not by this suggesting that then the security officer has a certain right to do what he did.
But do I sense undertones of blame? In one breath, it looks like you're condemning, but in another breath, I sense undertones of blame on the journalists. For instance, what is wrong if a journalist wants to have access to cover the former president, for which reason he was there? And it looks like I'm sensing undertones of blame in your voice.
It is not blame, it's a caution. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference between caution and blame. And what I'm trying to say that, and I'm not saying this in trying to rationalize what the process does. And if you may allow me to sometimes explain, I think that in the first place, it is not the job of a security officer to tell a journalist that you are not supposed to cover this event. Mm-hmm. And I should believe the ex-president has a press officer or a spokesperson. And exactly. I know Ajeni Boateng is the spokesperson of the ex-president, who himself is a journalist. So if there is any event that the media are not allowed to cover, it is for the press secretary to inform the media. So they will not be there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
However, the point I'm making here is that once, even if you have a right to cover the event, once the environment becomes endangered, I guess the right thing to do is to ensure your safety. I'm not saying so that in this context, grossing aid or anything. It is a caution, a general caution they are giving to everybody.
Very well, but beyond this statement that we've seen from the Ghana Journalists Association, mindful that 11 attacks in this year alone, and this is about the 10th month in the year 2018, 11 attacks, at least these are the ones that have been brought to light on journalists. 5 out of those 11, that includes multimedia journalists. We have been affected the most, 5 journalists out of the 11. Beyond these statements that we've seen from the Ghana Journalists Association, what concrete steps, what concrete things are we going to see? What kind of assurances can we get from the Ghana Journalists Association for journalists? What kind of assurances can you give us?
I think one thing we need to do, which my view we haven't tried to do in the past, is to engage each other.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when the DPA announced a boycott of a recent workshop jointly organized by the Media Foundation for West Africa and the Ghana Police Service. And even some media houses did not heed to our call. They went to the event. So, and sometimes you may take certain steps, or you may announce certain actions, but it will require all of us collective approach to address the issue. So if we say we are boycotting and some people will not see the call, that defeats that clarion call. And I'm also thinking that media houses also have to have a strategy of having every event, especially political activity, so that we all be protecting ourselves. Some people have even suggested the need for media houses to provide protective clothing to journalists covering, especially demonstration and other things. When you are covering a demonstration, you find security personnel who are even wielding arms and having helmets on top of them. Some are wearing vests and everything. They are protected, but journalists are not protected. Is it possible to engage media owners to provide such basic amenities to journalists who may be sent to cover demonstrations and other volatile assignments? So I think the way forward is to try to talk to each other, engage more. And we have also, we are in the process of inaugurating a legal team, which will then help us to take legal action or give legal support to victims of such incidents. But I think more is essentially we need to talk to each other. We need to also reach out to other stakeholders to find out how best we can all understand each other and not engage in such assaults.
The concluding part of your statement talks about engaging stakeholders, including media owners, amongst others, on the way forward to minimizing and not eliminating assaults on journalists. How soon will that be?
Yeah, we have already started the process. We have talked to a few political parties. We've spoken to the NPC, for example, because a lot of these things had happened in recent times at the head office of the NPC. So we have already engaged them. The general secretary of the party, what we haven't done is to talk to all the political parties and other stakeholders. What we intend to do is to create a common platform. And in engaging them, they have also made certain concerns to us about the way we do our job. So we want to have a common platform where we will sit down and have frank discussion about how we need to appreciate each other's job and role. At the end of the day, we are all working towards a common goal for the development of the country.
So just before I let you off, Mr. Edmond Kofi-Yeboah, you are a journalist as well. When you hear such cases, does it make you safe as a journalist?
Not just that. I had been a victim. In 2008, I was covering the Akufo-Addo campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Kumasi, and a similar incident. I had followed the campaign throughout the country. We went to Kumasi, and as I was taking my notes, a security officer came and was just pushing me around. But for one security officer at the castle then who knew me, who came to my aid, I would have been assaulted by that officer. So personally, I have been a victim to that. So I appreciate how it is. And it is just unfortunate that these things should be happening, and sometimes it happens at levels or at forums that you would imagine the thing happen. But I think it is also very assuring that the office of the ex-president has taken certain proactive steps to address the issue. But that should not be the end of the matter. We should find the perpetrator, and already that excuse is not acceptable. That Goldstein was called upon to identify the person, and he was not able to do it. When a person is assaulted, obviously he may be traumatized. So you don't expect him to even be in the right frame of mind to identify individuals. He may not even have seen the case clearly. So I think that excuse is not acceptable. We should do well to find the person. Otherwise, it could even be an indictment that somebody who gets close to the ex-president to do such a thing without the knowing of the specific details of the ex-head of state.
But is there a specific role that the GJA, for instance, will be playing to ensure that the perpetrator is brought to book?
Yeah, I think we will. I've tried myself to get in touch with Goldstein earlier in the morning. My call went on unanswered. We want to know how he's feeling now, and then how best we can assist him to help find the person who did this. And we will also be taking assistance to the office of the ex-president to also let them to speak and fast about the investigation.
Mr. Kofi-Yeboah, we are grateful for your time. That's the General Secretary of the GJA. So pictures you were seeing there were that of after the incident when Parker was dealt that hefty slap. You saw the arrow on him. He could barely see anything. From the narration, he actually fell after that slap. And looking at Parker's stature, and for him to be slapped to that extent that he falls, it means that it was well calculated. And that's him with the arrow on him. He could barely see anything, could barely walk. And that's how a journalist is treated for wanting to cover and to report what the former president, John Dramani Mahama, was up to on his Greater Accra regional tour. But we'll definitely follow this issue to its logical conclusion. But the Deputy Information Minister, Pius Hajide, today also issued a condemnation and urged Mr. Mahama's team to cooperate with relevant security agencies to investigate the matter. But first, let's hear from Information Minister Designate Kojo Nkrumah on attacks on the media. And guess what? He spoke at the 23rd GJA Awards over the weekend before this attack.
In May this year, as you are aware, Ghana was selected by UNESCO to host the World Press Freedom Day in Accra. That celebration drew close to about 1,000 participants from all over the world who came to share the best practices of our trade. It's one of the pieces of evidence that journalism in Ghana is gaining increasing recognition the world over. In our trade, we sometimes suffer attacks and threats which must be condemned and redressed when they occur. On the global scene, the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, as has been mentioned already, is a heinous, abominable, evil act that must never be repeated. And we urge the international community to put pressure on both Turkey and Saudi Arabia to find the perpetrators and to punish them, to deter future contemplators of similar actions from doing so. Here in Ghana, we also condemn unreservedly attacks on media professionals in recent times, including the assault on our good friend Lateef Idris. I've personally engaged with Lateef, the Ghana Police Service, and the National Media Commission, and we expect to bring some resolution to that matter in the shortest possible time. Journalism is not a crime, and violence against media practitioners and journalists, I beg your pardon, must not be tolerated.
You heard the Information Minister Designate Kojo Oponkroma speaking just on Saturday. Little did he know that he was going to record another one just yesterday. And so it's been 11 cases so far in this year alone. It started with Lateef Idris at the police headquarters. Then we had Ohima Sechiwa at the NPP headquarters when she was also slapped by Hajia Fati. Then we also recall Karen Dodu, another colleague of mine, Karen Dodu, when she was covering the Men's Gold events when the issue started. We also had Irasa Sasaredonko whilst covering a fire incident in Kumasi, and together with another camera guy, their equipment was seized and all that. Then just yesterday, we also heard about Kwesi Parker Wilson whilst covering the former President John Dramani Mahama's campaign in the Greater Okro region. So we've been joined in the studios. Let's kickstart the discussion. We'll get to hear from Pius Hajide also on that. But Kofi Asante-Mensah is a principal servant for United Press for Development Network, as well as we'll also be joined in the studio by he's also the convener for Kum Yen Preko, demo, and we're privileged to have him join us in the studio. Red headbands already,
sure,
with red buttons. Yeah, it looks like it's not a laughing matter, seriously, because I've recounted the number of incidents, 11 already. Not to talk about last year, and the year is about to end. Yeah. It's not ended yet, and already 11 of our colleagues have been assaulted. We know it's a joke sometimes. They say that if you haven't been assaulted as a journalist, then you haven't been baptized yet. But seriously, looking at the pictures we saw of what happened to Parker yesterday, what went through your mind?
I have to say a very big thank you and correct something you just said with regards to the 11, because it's not.
It's more.
My organization, we have tabulated and made research about it. You know, in the Ohima Sechiwa case, when you slap Ohima Sechiwa, we have more than one journalist around, and it's a threat to all of them. So if you're really counting, we at our quarters, we have hit over 20 already. And you could remember the UDS incident at Nyankpala, all right? These journalists were chased out. There were about 5 of them. And recently, Kekele Radio on the Volta region.
Exactly.
The whole morning show was virtually ransacked and disturbed. And all the station, our journalists, the camera person, etc., are all media-related persons. And this is a threat to all of them. So it's not really 11. It's more than that.
More than that.
Let me come and really congratulate all winners of the GJA 23rd Awards that was really held on Saturday. A big congratulations to Multimedia and your team. You won quite big over there.
Yeah, we did.
And I must also indicate...
But we are not happy at this point.
Yes.
Because of what has just happened to our colleague just yesterday.
Sure. We are very, very incensed with what is really happening. And it's a shock. We are so much disappointed in His Excellency, the President of the Republic, because, absolutely, if over 500 media practitioners across the world gather in Ghana to celebrate World Press Freedom, and you have the cause to address us and tell us media brutality will be a thing of the past, and under your watch, it's increasing, and you are quiet about it. You don't act. Your IGP is still in position after the Lateef Idrisu case. We have written petition to him and the Interior Ministry, Information Ministry, all of that. They are just playing us up and down, and we are very unhappy with this.
Since you sent that petition, you haven't heard anything?
From the presidency, they have not even acknowledged receipt of it. We heard something from the, what do you call, the IGP office. They called us for about twice. We've held some meetings with them. Kojo Ponkroma has done good. Most of us have made quite, he didn't even give us any attention. He didn't give us any attention. Kojo came and we had to write again another 3-page petition to him as well. Then he called us, I think the following 2 weeks, we've held a meeting with him. He's advised that after his confirmation, etc., he would liaise with us and do some stuff. That's fine. But the way, the speed at which things are going, we are very unhappy. And because of this, maybe on the 23rd of November, all of you would have to join us.
Yeah. There's another demonstration.
We are having another demonstration.
Oh, we had the first one, and
you see,
we are yet to see any results.
Absolutely, that's
true. And they are
true.
still beating us.
That's very true, because the attention for the Press for Justice demonstration was quite a silent one, because of the festival, the GAN, Traditional Council Ban on Noise Making, so it was quite a silent one. Now we want to make it loud, and I'm calling all media persons. It is time for us to let them know we can do it together. We don't hate ourselves. We don't hate Joy. We don't hate City. We don't hate Adon. Peace and everything. We are all one.
Yes, we are all.
And there's the time we have to come together. I've given a month notice to the police, a month notice to all media organizations, especially in the capital, to join us on 23rd. We are all gathering.
23rd of this month.
Of November, next month. And we are gathering at the forecourt of the National Theatre, and with brass band, we will walk cloud and black and red, go to the Ministry of Information, and another petition. There's a 3rd petition after the demonstration we sent to them.
What shows this time they would listen to us, because we've done 1st, 2nd, and this will be the 3rd?
Absolutely. It's a fair question, but I think we kept them in position. We voted them to power. If their media relation in opposition is different from how they are relating to us when they are in power, we know what to do to them.
Do you think they respect us as media people?
It's really something. I don't know what to say, but I think they don't. They tout and tell us we are the 4th arm of the realm and the estate, and it is, where is it written? It's not in our constitution. But if you want to give credence to our work, that if you attack journalists, you are attacking the rights of the people to know. And we have rights of information, etc., in our constitution.
That's another area we don't want to go into
Absolutely.
right now, right to information. The bill is still there. We don't even know the status.
It's really hell. And I'm very disappointed in former President John Dramani Mahama, because when Standobe was on course with him, around him, even in international states, preventing journalists, blocking them not to have access to the president, we spoke against it, we condemned it, etc. Now you're in your position. Instead of you and your camp to do things better, your security details are beating journalists up. And the president is quiet.
Kofi, hold it there. Let me get onto the phone line. We've been joined on the phone by the Deputy Information Minister, Pius Hajide. Thank you very much for your time here on the Pulse, Pius. As journalists, pretty down, most of us here at the Multimedia, and all those who have been abused and yet to get any justice. What really is it when you hear such incidents? Because some journalists have said that it looks like politicians don't really respect us as journalists. Is that the case?
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and to your cherished viewers. Let me first and foremost say that yesterday's incident, in our view, was unfortunate and it has to be condemned. I mean, brutalities against journalists of all forms are issues that we do not and should not seek to encourage, be it at the level of foot soldiers or at party apparatchiks. I think that we should condemn it. But it becomes more worrisome if even at the high level of His Excellency, the former president himself, security details can go to the extent of physically assaulting and abusing journalists. We hold the view that it is unfortunate and it should be condemned. Just a couple of days ago, at the Ghana Journalists Association's award ceremony, the Minister-designate, Honorable Kojo Oponkroma, had cause to worry and bemoan the rampant abuse, if you may, and assault on journalists. And as a government, we are quite worried and are determined to confront this menace head on. What is worthy of note, however, in this latest assault on journalism involving former President John Dramani Mahama, what is worthy of note is that I understand that Mr. James Ajenim Boateng, who speaks for the campaign, has apologized, but we hold the view that an unconditional condemnation should have preceded that. I mean, we should condemn this in no uncertain terms.
And may I add also that it's not just James Ajenim Boateng has apologized. We are told that when the incident occurred and the former president's attention was drawn, he also apologized for the incident and promised that the matter will be looked into. May I just add that? Okay,
I was going to come to that about the loud silence of the former president himself. I think that he has the platform he has been on, the campaign today he has been engaging, and I will dare to suggest that beyond the personal, if you may, secret apology behind the scene, His Excellency must elevate this beyond that and let the world know where he stands on abuse and assault of journalists, particularly against the background of what we just all witnessed recently, the barbaric and brutal murder of the journalist Mr. Jamal Khashoggi. And I think that this matter, again, has brought home the critical matter of the risks associated with journalism and so on and so forth. But I think that to want to have the same NDC security apparatus that brutalized the journalists in the first place, to have that same group investigate this, I think will be, I mean, we can do better than that. I think that there are institutions of state that have the mandate and the capacity to investigate this matter and, if necessary, to prosecute, i.e. the Ghana police. And I think that the campaign should not be seen to be preventing or interfering with the police as far as investigations of this assault, which is clearly a criminal offense, is concerned. I think that it is not for the NDC machinery or the campaign of the former president to investigate matter. I do not think they have the capacity. I do not think that they have the mandate. They should allow the police to do their work and not be seen to be frustrating or interfering in it. But we are not quiet as a government. Late last night, I've had cause to even speak about this publicly and to condemn same. We will do same irrespective of, I mean, wherever it happens, whoever attempts to abuse, assault, attack a journalist, please be assured that you do have a friend in the Ministry of Information, and we shall stand by.
We've said this before. We've heard this before, that we have a friend in the Ministry of Information beyond the public, condemnation. We know about Latif. Up until now, we don't know who the perpetrators were, even though this happened right in front of the police headquarters. Up until now, nothing has happened. Yet you are telling us that you are going to confront issues of journalist abuse. You have a test case. What would you do?
Well, I mean, I can assure you that even on the Latif situation, we are leaving no stone unturned. I can assure you that the ministry...
Since March, up until now, we don't know one single police officer that was involved. Nobody has been named as we speak.
Well, I can assure you that at the ministry, even as he waits to be hopefully cleared by Parliament and sworn in as minister, which, as you may know, has not happened yet, the minister designate acting as the deputy minister that he already is, has been making some inquiries with the Ghana Police Service, and we do not intend to stop it when he becomes a full-fledged and substantive minister. I do know, because he has made that quite clear, that these are matters that he intends to continue to pursue.
But seriously, I must say that, Pius, journalists are not happy. We think that we are being taken for granted. You don't think so?
Well, I mean, the history would suggest that journalists have been attacked and brutalized. And,
because we get public condemnation, and that is all we get. Everybody condemns. This act must be condemned. That act must be condemned. Beyond the condemnation, we all go to sleep. And another journalist will be beating again. Exactly the point. That's why we have to end this vicious cycle of pretenses and condemnations and apologies at a certain point, and move into action. And that's why we are of the view that these apologies rendered by Mr. Ajanim Boateng and even the former president himself may not compensate enough for the crimes that have been committed, and that they should not seek to interfere in the investigations and claim that they will investigate and bring the perpetrators to book. They do not have the capacity. They do not have the mandate. I do not know on what basis that anybody can think that the NDC security structure or the security structure of the former president can take care of this. I think that we should let the law take its course. I do agree with you that there has to be a turning point, especially at this time in the life of journalists. I think that Mr. Jamal Khashoggi's death should be a wake-up call to all of us. Indeed. We should not take these things for granted. Anything can happen. We should not be seen to be encouraging it. We're grateful for your time, Pius Hajide. We live to see this matter. Will not go to rest on it, because we are tired of the situation as journalists. You heard a JoyNews journalist earlier also demanding that these attacks comes to an end. Enough is what we're all saying as journalists. Kofi, you heard the Deputy Information Minister. They say they are going to tackle these abuses head on. You believe that?
Emefa, I'm very disappointed in whatever he has. He has said nothing. Here are the rhetorics we've been listening to for all these years. He said nothing new. And I'm quite disappointed in him. You see, I expected our mother body, the Ghana Journalists Association, to rise to the occasion.
They've issued a statement. They've attacked, they've condemned the assault on the JoyNews reporter. A part of the statement that I find that's very intriguing, the second paragraph, for instance, it says, the ex-president is a man of high respect and great honor, also part of being a member of the GJA. He also always had a cordial relations with the media. It is therefore expected that officers who work with him and on his behalf would emulate his character in their dealings with the media.
You see, Afel Money, the president of the GJA, trust me, is causing more harm than good. After money, I can't believe he signed us. But his name is there. He signed us. Is the GJA a political tool now? What is it trying to say? You see, I have a problem with him every time. The last time I met him at his office, and I told him, when we have assault in the Volta region or the Northern region, we don't hear you, GJA. Well, even in Accra, with some media organizations, we don't hear you. Why is that? And I'm so disappointed. I think there should be a crusade to remove Afel Money. If we really mean well for, because in United Press for Development Network, Media Foundation,
he has a tenure that he has to serve.
That's
he's
true.
yet to do that.
But if you're not living to your expectations.
We have to wait for the next election, don't we?
MFR, seriously, I can't still believe. I read through everything for about 3 times. I couldn't believe Dr. Afelmoni signed it. And up until now, I'm so disappointed.
Is there any hope for us as journalists?
There is, because we will never give up. Listen, look at me carefully. I am telling you, we will never give up. We brought them in, we will know how to kick them out. If they won't listen to us when they are in power, we know how to deal with them when they are in opposition.
The media cabal. That's why they will always say you are
absolutely.
The media cabals.
And we are taking time patiently. We petitioned the Asantehene and the Ochehene as well. We are going gradually. And I'm telling you, MFA, on this program tonight, that we will never give up. We won't. We'll
stand with our colleagues. It has to be justice for our colleagues. Indeed, it is indeed sad times for us as journalists. You should see Parker Wilson. He has an eye infection as we speak, still being treated by his doctors just for covering a campaign of the former President John Dramani Mahama. Lateef Idrisu was also covering an event at the police headquarters, right in front of the police headquarters. We are yet to see anything concrete or who these perpetrators are and whether they've been brought to book or not. We are yet to hear anything on these matters. A number of them, 20 cases, like Kofi has said, yes. And we'll see whether we're able to get any justice. But we will never give up, he says, and we are all in this together as journalists. It's a good time to stand with each other.
And we're inviting you for the Kumiyam Prekon, 23rd.
Yes, on the 23rd of November.
That's what they understand. Let's give it to them.
Demonstrations.
We will occupy everywhere, small. We will never give up.
Okay. Kofi, we're grateful for your time here on the poll.